Welcome to my educational series of videos. This is me, Mona Abu Fayyad, and I'll be explaining many softwares on this platform. So, for the first series, it's gonna be a series explaining Photoshop. So, on this series, first I'm gonna be explaining the software, the interface, the tools, and what we can do with Photoshop. And I'll be giving an example of making a poster. So, without any further ado, let's switch to the PC and make some screen recording for you. Let's open Photoshop. My Photoshop is already opened. I have Photoshop 2021, and these are the recent files that I was working on. Actually, I was working for a restaurant menu for my father. So for now, let's create new. Okay. You click on create new and this window will appear for you. Okay. Here you can find my recent dimensions that I have used before, and you can find your recent files that you have worked on before, the recent dimensions. And here you can find the saved ones. You can save certain dimensions that you prefer. And here you can find suitable dimensions for photos, here for printable things, here for art and illustration, for if you want to create a website, a mobile application, or mobile background, or Microsoft Surface, or Android, or anything. And here you can create, for example, a thumbnail for your YouTube video, anything. But for us as architects, we can go to print to find our sheets sizes that we all know. Okay, for me, I'll be using A4 for now. Okay, so here you can find the A4 dimensions. You can select if you want it portrait or landscape. You can change the resolution. I like to keep it 150, between 120 and 150 pixels per inch. This should be good and enough. I don't like to make my files so huge or so high in quality. It will just take space from my PC and it will be very heavy and very slow. All right, I want my background to be white. And you don't need to worry about anything else. Just create. Just click on create. And this is your workspace. This white sheet is your workspace. This is our A4 that we just selected. All right, I need one thing from you. If you're following me and working with me now, you need to go to window, you need to go to workspace and then reset essentials. Okay, I'll explain why. Because when you work, it's so similar to AutoCAD or the other softwares. If you work, for example, I like to keep my colors outside this toolbar. I like to keep my layers up and my colors down and so on. It will change from one person to another. But for now, because we're working together, I want all of us to have the same layout of the software, the same interface. So again, you go to window, you go to workspace, and then you go to reset essentials so we can all work on the same page. All right, so this is our workspace. I'll just drag an image here and put it so we can work on it. Any image, just drag any image you like. You can drag it or you can just open it. All right, I have this image. Okay. Now it opened another tab because it's another file, but I'll just drag it to my A4 so we can work on a certain size of sheet. All right, now, as you can see, it's smaller than A4. I can edit that, but you gotta be so careful because it might destroy the pixels of the image. Anyway, now we're just practicing. We're not gonna print it. We're not gonna see pixels. I just clicked on my I pressed on my keyboard Control T, so I can edit the size of it. And I'm not holding anything on my keyboard. I'll just use my mouse and drag the edges. If you press Shift and then do this, it will stretch it. If you press Control, it will distort it. See? So I'll just Control Z now and just resize it. I just need an image to explain the tools. It doesn't have to be perfect now. Okay, so as you can see, I'll be explaining the layers gradually while talking, while explaining the tools. If it has something to do with the layers, I'll go back to layers and explain it. I'm just telling you now so you can pair with me and so you're not confused. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you one thing about the layers now, that as you see, we drag this image here to our new file here. So it created a new layer. Here we have our layers. So it created a new layer. See? This is our background. If you turn off your background, you're gonna see these small squares. It's PNG. If you export it as PNG, you're gonna find it transparent from these edges. All right. If you want to make it white from the background, you can keep it on. Okay, I'm gonna be explaining the essential tools today, the most important tools, not all of them, all right? Because I don't wanna make it boring and very long session. Okay, so let's start explaining the tools. You will find the tools here on your left hand. Okay, these are the tools, and we have some more here. If you're using the 2021 Photoshop, you're gonna find them here on the 3 dots here. You right click on these 3 dots, so you can find more tools. All right, let's go back to our move tool. All right. Okay, so make sure your auto select is on, so it's easier for you. I'll be explaining why. So my auto select is on and my move tool is on. I can move the layers. And if I have another layer, I can select it and move it. Now, let's go to our selection tools. We have many selection tools. For now, I'll be explaining a few of them, the most important of them. Now, we have this rectangular selection tool. All right, so make sure you're on your layer, you're on this layer that we're working on. Okay, let me show you. This is the first selection tool. All right, and now it's selecting this portion of this layer, So I can do anything to this portion of the image. Let's say I'll delete it. Just press delete on the keyboard. I just deleted it. Let's say I want to color this portion. I want to draw anything. I'm drawing. And look, I'm dragging my mouse, but it's not coloring anything beyond this box, the selected box, because I'm giving the command only to the selected portion of this layer. All right, let's just undo. And I have something else to explain about the selection tools in general. Just select it. Now we have these 4 things. I'll be explaining them. Okay. Now I have selected this. If I select again, while selecting this, it will remove my old selection and create a new selection. Let's try. See, it's removing my old selection and it's creating a new selection. Okay, but if I select the second one, it will add to my selection. For example, I already selected this portion of the layer. Now it will add to my selection. See, it's adding to my selection. Okay, what about this one? It's the subtract tool, subtract selection tool. Or it's not a tool, it's a mode in the tool, you know. See, the fourth one, it will choose only the intersected portion of your selection. So for example, we have this portion and I'm drawing another one. So in the middle is our intersected selection. So it will just keep our intersected portion of selection. All right, I like to keep it on the second one, adding to the selection. It will help you and I'll show you later. All right. Same goes to these. I'll not be explaining all of the tools. As I said, especially if it's repeated like this one, let me show you really quickly. See, it's just it's the same idea with the different shape. It's circular. All right, the other one is this one. It will allow you to select with straight lines. To be honest, I like this tool. It's really, really accurate. If you zoom in, let me zoom in, you can really select, even if it's curvy, it's okay because we're working with pixels, guys. Pixels, not curves. All right, so if you zoom in, I'll explain what does pixels mean. Pixels means that your image is consisting of very small squares. Basically, it's just squares. So here you have squares. So at the end, even your curves are straight, but you have to know how to select them. That's why I prefer this tool for selection. And for this tool, you can, at the end, if you want to close it, just double click on your mouse and it will close the shade. If you want to deselect after you finish, you can click Ctrl D, or you can simply right click and then deselect. All right, this is for the polygonal lasso tool. For the lasso tool, it's basically the same, but it is a freehand tool. I don't really like this tool because it's not so accurate, so I don't really use it. All right, again, we have many selection tools. I'll not be able to explain all of them. This one is sometimes helpful. See, it will try to read which figure is in the front and which figure is the background and so on. So when I click on this man, it will select him, but it's not really accurate. So I like to use it and then go back to my polygonal lasso tool and then use this one. Make sure you're on the add to the selection and then zoom in and then like deselect. I'm clicking on my Alt key on my keyboard. So I deselected this portion. Maybe, I don't know, look here. I'm still using my Alt and the polygonal lasso tool to clean this up. That's why I like to use the combination of the two tools with the add mode, add to selection. And you can just delete him, you can duplicate him. You can duplicate the shape by clicking or pressing on your keyboard Ctrl plus J. So now, after I selected this guy, I duplicated him by Ctrl J. All right. So now, when you duplicate the thing or the selection, it will create a new layer here on your layers window. All right. I'll not be explaining the 3D tools for now because we're doing just posters and stuff. All right, the next tool that I'm going to be explaining is the brush tool. This is our brush tool. Here, if you click here, you can change the size. You can change the hardness, maybe increase it. See, it's very sharp now because I increased the sharpness. And you can choose the shape of your brush. Now, because I did not load a lot of brushes on this laptop, but you can load many, many brushes from the internet, or you can buy some. It's really interesting. You can render your project photos, project renders. You can add a sky, you can add some clouds, you can add birds, you can add trees. It will really elevate your images. Maybe I will show you in the other sessions how to render an image on Photoshop. It will really elevate your project. All right, you can choose different type of brushes. So the silhouette, instead of being circular, it will be, for example, like a tree. You can play with the opacity, you can change it, you can blend it with the background. It will really look so artistic and nice. Okay, this is for the brushes. Okay, this is the clone stamp tool. This tool is really interesting. Okay, let's imagine that we don't like this cloud here. I don't like it. I want to get rid of this cloud. Okay, one thing you need to know about the cloud, you need to use the same layer that you're taking a drop from it. Basically, what's the clone stamp? It is taking like a drop from the image and replicating it on the other, on anywhere you like in the image. So, for example, let me just try it so you can understand better. Okay, I'll change the size. You can right click on anywhere on your workspace or just click here. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, you need to take a drop, keep pressing your Alt button, and then take a drop. I want to take a drop from the red sky here. All right, and I want to hide this cloud. To make it more realistic, you can change the hardness, you can increase the size, so it can blend better. So I'll take a drop from here again. I'll try to blend it. I'll try to make the size bigger and bigger so it can blend more. It's taking a lot. Or like that. You got the concept, right? I can duplicate anything. For example, if you like to duplicate this branch of tree here. Yeah. Okay, now we have our eraser tool. Basically, it's the same as the brush, but it's taking from the image. The eraser is taking from the image, the brush is adding to the image. That's the only difference. All right. You can also change the size, change the shape of the eraser, the hardness, and so on. Okay, again, I'm not going to use this. I'm not going to explain it. It's for the 3D elements. This one is the text tool. Just select it and draw a square, drag it. Let's try to write, what's that? Let's try to write anything. All right, I just wrote my name. You can change the color from here or here. You can change the font from here. Okay. You can change the size. You can change the, let me show you another one. Okay, for this font, you can change it from regular to italic, bold, bold, italic, anything you like. And you can align it to the left, to the right, to the middle, and so on. This is for our text tool, and notice here it's creating a new layer. Yeah. Okay. Now for the pen tool. Pen tool is so similar to the selection tool. Some people don't like it because it's not so easy to select with the pen tool if you're not familiar with it. But it can be very helpful if you're going to select something that's very detailed. If you're selecting something that's very detailed, a small flower or something, it can be very helpful. And let me just draw anything. I drew this thing. You can make it as a shape or mask or selection. Let me make it as a selection. So it selected this portion. All right. Let me show you. I duplicated this portion of the image. See? With the Ctrl J. You can duplicate with the Ctrl J, and you can deselect with the Ctrl D. And you can edit the shape with the Ctrl C. Okay? All right. So that was the pen. We can get into more details if you want to. I feel that the selection tool is enough. Okay. Okay, the path selection, it will select the vector shapes. For example, let me explain this first. The rectangle tool, all right. It's a shape, all right? It's a shape. You can just draw a shape. We have many shapes here, or custom shape tool. We have also many shapes here. See, we have trees, we have stuff. You can use them. Okay. This is basically the shapes tool. Now we go back to the path selection. Okay, for the path selection, it will edit the shapes that you have, or you can use the other thing, which is called direct selection tool. You can edit the points of these shapes. If you click on the shape, and then with this tool, it will allow you to edit it, to edit the points as you see in the explanation here. Yeah, and so on. Okay. And our hand tools just to move the workspace. So easy. Okay, and our zoom tool. All right, if you click on it and then move your mouse up, it will zoom. Move your mouse down, it will zoom out. Move it up, it will zoom in. Move it out, it will zoom down. Or you can just hold your Control or your Alt, and then scroll with your mouse up or scroll down. Okay, I want to check these things here, the additional tools. Maybe there's something interesting. All of them are interesting, to be honest, but I don't want to make it long. I don't want to make it boring. Okay, let me explain. These are just selection tools. You can just try them. They are very easy, just like the ones that I have explained. Maybe this one is really interesting because it's a magnetic tool. It will auto-select a few things, but again, you need to adjust it. Not always so accurate. Okay, I'll explain the crop tool. You can crop your image, but this will mess with your proportion of the sheet. All right, and then we have many tools. The drop sampler tool, the healing brush tool. It's so similar to the stamp. The blur, it will blur the image. The sharpen, it will give sharpen to the image. It's basically similar to the brush. You just click this, and then you can select the layer that you want to work on. And then you do this, it will give sharpen to the image. The blur will do the opposite, and so on. I think We have the paint pocket. It's really, really important. This one. It's basically just a tool that will allow you to color. All right. If you have a new layer, it will color it better. All right, guys. So this was our first lesson of explaining the tools and the interface of the Photoshop. I'm sure we'll get more into details in the other sessions of this course. It's very interesting. Let's just explain a poster in the next session, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.